Okay, Pops, every once in a while we're joined by people who are really out there trying to make a difference. Today, Jeff Weinseer from ABC 10 down in the South Florida area.
Fort Lauderdale, I believe.
Nicely done, Pops. He's joining us here. He's got a late, great article that's come out down there investigating what's going on with lease buyouts. I'll let you finish queuing it up and let's hand it over to Jeff to learn what's going on.
Well, apparently, from what I understand, Jeff, many dealers in the South Florida area, or all of Florida actually, are charging people additional fees when they want to buy out their leases at the end of their lease, which I believe states in their contract that there are no additional fees.
To say the least, yes. We've done 3 stories on this issue, and I haven't done a story. I've been a television reporter for close to 30 years, and I haven't done a story that has gotten this much attention and has outraged the viewers like this story has. More people than ever, as you know, and as you covered, are buying out their leases based on the fact that there's nothing on the lots. And people are getting hit with these undisclosed dealer fees. We have dealers here in South Florida as well that are forcing certifications, that are forcing inspections, that are also adding on to the bottom line. And as I call it, consumers are being held hostage because the dealers are saying this is the way it is, or go somewhere else. And then they go somewhere else, which they're allowed to do. And that dealer says, well, you didn't buy it here. You have to go to the original dealer. And quite frankly, consumers who are, for the most part, uneducated in this are sitting there. What do I do? And they call the manufacturer. The manufacturer is like, well, in the state of Florida, it's law. It's not a law in the state of Florida. There's nothing in the books in the state of Florida. The state of Florida really has a rule that says if you sell 3 or more cars in the state of Florida, you need a dealer's license. And they don't. And it's really a free-for-all in the state of Florida. And what I found out is there is nobody regulating this. There is nobody that is telling the dealers in the state of Florida, stop doing this. It's against the law, except for the attorneys who have to file arbitration against these dealers because there's an arbitration clause in the contract. And consumers are outraged and they're upset. And the dealers are getting away with it for the most part until the consumer calls out the dealer and stomps his hands and feet. And I'm telling you, the consumer is not going to forget this down the line if and when things get back to normal.
Thinking about getting an extended warranty? Go to joinyaa.com and check out our pricing there. There's no obligation, no spam, no robocalls. YAA for your extended warranty. I'm not a real bright guy. I'm not overly educated. I didn't quite make it through my first 3 semesters of college. But it would seem to me that there would be an easy carve out for this in the Florida state legislature. And that would be to put together rules or regulations or a law that says a leasing company is not considered a dealer, and a person who is leasing the vehicle is not considered a customer if they want to buy out their own lease at the end. And so therefore, the leasing company should not need a dealer's license to just sell that car back to the customer. Seems like an easy carve out to me.
You would think, well, first off, we have in our last story, we took it to state legislators. We have reached out to everybody in the Florida Senate on regulated industries. And this is a regulated industry, and that is a committee in the Florida Senate. One got back to me out of everybody that's on it. Let's face it, the auto industry has lobbyists and very strong lobbyists. Mm-hmm. And the Florida Automobile Association, their lobbyists are very strong. There is a problem here. They don't go back into session until next year. This is a today problem, and a today problem that's not going to get fixed because the state legislature, they're part-time. They're not going into session until next year. Is there an easy fix? The problem, what's happening today isn't working. Our state attorney general, as you all mentioned, and you know him very well, Earl Stewart, which owns a dealership in northern Palm Beach County. He was part of our last story. He's the dealer who is the anti-dealer, who talked to us about how the state attorney general in Florida, he can't remember, and he's been a dealer since 1968, has never gone after car dealerships because, the car dealerships have the money and the backing, and the attorney general is an elected position here in Florida. That should be where it lays today, because it's a today problem, until we get it fixed in the state legislature, if it needs to be fixed. Because if there are laws in the books today, just enforce the laws. But that being said, we have a state senator and a state representative. It's on their radar. They're looking into it. It is a problem, is what we're hearing. Will it be fixed? That's a good question. Yes, what you're saying is true. In other states, you can pay Honda Finance, Kia Credit, whoever the case may be, write them a check. That's who has the contract. That's who we pay every month out our lease. We should be able to pay them, and that's it. But in the state of Florida, they say go back down to the dealer, and it causes this, excuse my French, this show at the dealer level, which it's every man for himself. Some dealers do charge it. Some dealers don't charge it. Some dealers call it a pre-delivery service fee. Some dealers call it, and then on top of that, there's electronic filing fees to the state. We have one dealer here in Broward County that charges a $449 electronic filing fee to the state. Well, the state says we don't charge anything close to that. We asked Earl Stewart what it costs him as a dealer. It's $10. So on top of a $992 dealer fee, there's another $449 electronic filing fee. So you're talking about $1,400 there already. It's not in the original lease contract, and federal law says if it's not in the beginning contract, it can't be. If it's not at the top, it can't be charged at the bottom. It's all disclosure.
To your point earlier, you used the word being held captive or hostage. That's exactly what it is, because you can make a really logical argument from the dealer level. We're not changing the cost of the residual value. The cost is what it is. It's the same cost in the contract. You just want to have the privilege of buying it through us, which you absolutely have to do. We're just going to make it $2,500 more expensive. And to me, that's the loophole that they're able to access is, hey, the lease cost is the same, but you have to go through me, which is such baloney. I mean, it's absolute BS. And the magnitudes of scale here, Jeff, we are talking in some cases thousands of dollars. And to your point, the wording around what you're getting. Well, we have to do, we saw one in our community forum recently. Do I have to get the safety inspection for $1,500? Get the hell out of here.
I want to also show you that they're not even abiding, and I'm going to put it up to the camera. I got this at the end of last week. The residual value on this car is $25,000. And they're charging I'm going to try to, maybe it's not going to work. Anyway, it's
take a photo and send it to me.
Market value selling price. So the residual is $25,000. The market value selling price is $26,000. So they're inflating the residual $1,000 right there. This is an Infinity dealership in South Florida. On top of a $995 dealer doc fee, and then a non-tax fee of $505. So that's $2,000 in fees on a lease buyout. It's unbelievable. There's an attorney here in South Florida who is in all three of our stories, I believe, or maybe two of our stories so far, who has gotten at least, thank God for him, because if it wasn't for him taking on these cases and filing arbitration right now, at least against 25 dealer groups in South Florida. He's got about 80 cases, 25 dealer groups. Wow. If it wasn't for him, the consumer would just be at a loss. And arbitration is not cheap for these dealerships at all. It could be, Ray, you probably know, arbitration could cost back and forth and hiring an arbitrator and filing arbitration. It could be in the thousands.
Sure.
And what some of the dealers are doing to avoid the arbitration is calling up the consumer who's complaining and saying, we'll give you your money back and now sign a non-disclosure. We're going to give you your money back. You sign this agreement, but the consumer is leaving on the table the damages because they violated the terms of you're entitled to damages as part of the federal law, up to $2,000 in damages. So you're leaving money on the table if you sign this non-disclosure.
Wow.
And the consumer doesn't know that.
Seems to me that we need to rally the consumers in Florida, South Florida, and all over Florida,
And in other states,
and
too,
other
to be honest,
states,
Pennsylvania.
But my thinking is, especially in Florida, to get them to file complaints with the Attorney General's office, because I believe there's safety in numbers. There's only so long the Attorney General can turn a blind eye to complaints. And if complaints start coming in the hundreds on a weekly basis, as opposed to one or two, and if you keep publicizing the story, at some point, some public official is going to feel like, well, maybe we need to address this. And that's I guess it's the people of Florida holding their elected officials responsible. Yes, you can do it at the ballot box, but between the time that there's elections, there's other ways to do it, and you can make their life uncomfortable by going on social media, by filing these complaints, by making everyone aware of what's not happening that should be happening. Just my thought.
We're not done yet. I will say that. I will say that this is something that I will say that the consumer, I hope, does not forget. And I will also say, where is the manufacturer in all of this? In other words, I had somebody standing outside of a Kia dealership telling me, a young guy, he's going to be buying 10 more cars in his life, and he's now pissed off at Kia. Where is Kia? Because he's not buying a Kia again. Why doesn't Kia come down on their dealerships? Where are the manufacturers in this? Because the consumers are calling up their manufacturers and their banks and I had Volkswagen, for instance. There is a dealership here in South Florida. It sells mostly Volkswagens that is forcing certification on their consumers on lease buyouts, which you can't do, and they're part of these attorneys' arbitration. And I have to deal with public information officers as a member of the media. And Volkswagen of America, their corporate public information officers aren't returning my calls. Where are you? Your consumers are upset here in South Florida. Your dealers are ripping them off. Where are you, VW of America? To the point where one of their public information officers, I had his cell phone number. I called him back. Maybe he didn't recognize the number. He said, hello. I said, it's Jeff Weins here with WPLG in Miami. He hung up on me. So I called him back and I left a voicemail. I said, I don't know if we got disconnected or if you hung up, but call me back. And he never did, which led me to believe he hung up on me. Even the corporate, I don't even know if they're just don't want to ignore it and maybe it'll go away. But when you have the Kia customer or the VW customers outside of the dealership complaining, and these are people who are consumers who are going to be buying a lot of cars in the future, and they're complaining, where are you in all of this?
Jeff, we are forever thankful for the work that you've done. We would like to give you access to the YAA platform as you have more developments in your story, and we'll be here on your side to help spread the news and hopefully we'll link to the Attorney's General information in the description down below. We need hundreds of people. If you've been affected, if you know someone who's been affected, share the video, share the message. This is an opportunity for consumers to unite and stand strong. And Jeff, we thank you for what you've done to spearhead this movement.
Anytime. We're not done. We'll keep you all posted. And together, let's get this done.
Terrific. Thank you, Jeff.
You guys take care.